Shalom, this is Amonute Tayac of Piscataway, your friendly neighborhood Shuman Sophia Spiritualite, the AmaruKhan Miriyam, and we're here with another very interesting video, hopefully for everyone and not a total snooze fest like most of the videos. No, I mean, this is kind of more esoteric in nature, so I hope people can kind of follow along with what's going on here. We're going to read this, and then I'm going to explain to you what this is really talking about. Because I was very confused when I got to the end of this article. And I realized what it was that they were talking about. So this is about the three sisters. So remember, I just did a video talking about the three magi, which they try to tell us are men, where there's no description of three men anywhere you look. There's many, many, many descriptions, even in the sky. As you can see, Orion's belt is three sisters. So why they would say that there were three men who saw the star in the sky when you literally have three women mentioned everywhere is beyond my understanding or comprehension. So instead of trying to understand and comprehend, we're just going to say that someone is not telling the truth. We're going to make it make sense, okay? So the law here is things are connected by blood. The constellation. The three sisters is probably the smallest constellation. A run of three bright stars just outside one edge of the door. They are comparatively close together and only appear above the horizon during the winter months through to mid-spring. Now, remember, I'm not going to do it. Let's keep going. There is some disagreement over the naming of the stars. In most of the empire, the stars make up the sisters are called Irigo, Requisa, and Gera by imperial astronomers, although there is a great deal of disagreement as to which one is which. Older texts refer to them as Suspir, Lacrima, and Tenebrae. Symbology. Sometimes known as the three sorrows, the three sisters stand for family and bloodline. Kith and kin, belonging, being on the inside rather than the outside. Legend speaks of them being three sisters cursed to carry the sorrows of the world, each of them bearing a different part of the burden. Suspire, the youngest, carries the world's sighs. Lacrima, the middle sister, carries the world's tears. And Tenebrae, the eldest, carries the darkness in the souls of people. Knowing as they do all sorrows, it stands within their power in a legend to grant sucres from sorrow by gifting it to another, though in the tale their gifts always carry a string in the tale. In Navarre, Wintermark, and Vashkura, they are called the three mothers rather than the three sisters. Invoking the three sisters in rituals. The three sisters stand for regret, sorrow, and consequences. They are a popular choice for cursing with. Bringing down the sorrows of the three sisters on an opponent is seen as less inherently dangerous than invoking the wanderer or the drowned man. They can also stand for the ties that bind families, clans, and communities together. Rituals to affect a specific bloodline or group may benefit from invoking their name. Tulpas of the three sisters. Tulpas of the three sisters almost always take the form of one of the three sisters themselves. A veiled young woman sighing sorrowfully, a middle-aged woman weeping tears of blood, or a night-veiled old woman silent and deadly. Beware of Tenebrae, that's the oldest. Alignment. Coming too closely into alignment with the sisters brings with it an overwhelming sense of sorrow, woe, and regret. Bleak, black depression can fall on the ritualist and be hard to shift. Others fall to weeping and woe. And so these are all the constellations. Okay, so you might be saying, okay, what in the world did you just read? Let me tell you something I just found out. There is a group of people over in the UK. This is an actual physical event that occurs in the UK every single season. When we go through the equinoxes and the solstices, this group of people gets together to play out this ritual. You may be saying, well, what do you mean they get together to play out this ritual? Let me show you specifically. Let's look at events in 2023. Now listen to this. I'm not going to read this whole page. They run 4 Empire events a year. Although we are keen to give players the freedom to run their own Empire events if they wish, we believe it is also important for the players to know what level of commitment and involvement a game presents. Therefore, there will only ever be 4 Profound Decisions Empire events every year. They do this every year. So they've already released their 2024 dates. They do it for winter solstice, spring equinox, and they even have their own year. So they tell you what year they're doing. Next year is going to be year 386. They always do it at this place, this campsite. So look at this. The time in is 6 p.m. on Friday, and timeout is 10 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday morning. Timeout is 1 a.m. Meaning this is a time when you go out of character. That's what I mean by time in and time out. You can't role play on Friday, but you can come and set up. They have this campsite. You can buy online. Now, mind you, this don't cost a lot. 75 euros. That's not a lot of money. If you book all the things at once, you receive discounts. They have concessions. They tell you how to pay. All of that. Now, you may think that this is not serious. Because I want y'all to understand. I want y'all to see this. Let's look at the Winds of Fortune. There was one that I looked at. I might have to go back. Now look at these people. Do this look like a person who's not serious? I'm just asking you. Do this look like a person who's not serious? This is the game. This is what they're doing. Now, let me go back because it was something I clicked on this first page. Okay, so let's talk about the Tulpas. A Tulpa, now, I'm going to try to explain this as calmly as I can because it's pretty insane. A Tulpa is the physical representation of a character. So when they say the Tulpas, this is what they look like. These are people who decided to dress up as these characters for this gameplay. Now the constellations, these are all part of the gameplay. I'm not going to go through all of this. I just want, and these constellations very much aligned with the tarot too, by the way, which we probably will just do another whole video on. So a tulpa is a physical representation, what the character or the deity, the entity that has been created manifests as. So for example, you know how we've been saying stuff like, hey, if you don't deal with your shadow, it's going to turn into a demon. That demon, the actual proper name for it is a tulpa. It's not a demon, it's a tulpa. You're turning it into a whole entity. So if you have this, this grudge against this guy that you dated 20 years ago because, he left you for your sister or something like that, you have turned that hurt and that pain into a tulpa. And it's going to manifest in your life over and over again until you deal with it. And you don't deal with it by saying, hey, you got to go away, pretending it's not there, whatever. You have to neutralize it somehow. You have to give it another task to do. You have to heal it. You have to integrate that energy back in. You have to acknowledge it. You can't just be like, oh, I didn't create this thing. No, you did create it. So there's no one else who can get rid of it. Oh, this is what I want. This is what I clicked on. Maybe, was it? So they call this Astromancy. And I was like, well, Astromancy. Let's see if it show me what it means. No. What is here we go. This is the page. What is Astromancy? I want y'all to understand this. Again, this is an actual event. They hold every single solstice and every single equinox. These people gather together to do something that they believe is not real. These people are paying to engage in this battle with us. If you want to know who has been fighting us in the celestial realm, it is this group. Now, listen, this is not for us to go out, do some black magic on them, take revenge and all of that. This is so you can understand you was never crazy when you said, man, who is doing this to me? Why would someone do this to me? These people don't know you. These people don't have you on their altar. They don't know who you are. They've been organized by a group of individuals who are taking advantage of people like this natural desire to know more about themselves. And they find knowledge about themselves and participating in these kind of activities. They don't know they're doing real magic. They don't know that they're being used to fight us in the spirit realm. The people who we are fighting would never, ever, ever be bold enough to attack us personally. They wouldn't do it. So I am not saying they should stop doing this. I feel like let the Most High deal with this thing the way that he wants to. But I want you to know that this is how it's been happening. They have been using these people. It'll become evident once I read this article. So, all right. The constellations have been known since time immemorial. They figure largely unchanged from their present forms on some of the oldest buildings and artifacts in the world. Many magicians, especially those of Urizen, believe them to be a map or chart of the powers of the world as reflected above, as if the sky were a great dark lake reflected on the surface was the means to understand, control, and manipulate the forces of nature. At its core, astromancy is a magical tradition that involves identifying patterns in the stars associated with fundamental magical and natural laws, and drawing power from them to fuel ritual magic. These patterns, the constellations, are held by many astromancers to be the same tools the Creator used to forge creation. Like runes and the narrative principles of dramaturgy, astromancy is a means of placing magic in context and understanding it. Again, none of this is bad on its own. Invocation and command. The stars are handles, physical ways to grab the force of magic. Nobody in the empire imagines the stork as an actual stork. That arrangement of stars you can see in the sky is a way to represent one of the primal powers of creation. By using that imagery and incorporating it into your rituals, you are tapping into that primal power and associating your ritual with it. Astromancers believe that the sky is limitless, and so are the powers it represents. Okay. The constellations, known and codified by the Empire, are merely the tip of the iceberg. Every star is a part of a constellation, and every constellation is a representation of a cosmic principle, a natural force or universal power. The codified ones are simply those whose meanings and purpose are clearly understood. There exists many more to discover, comprehend, and codify. No. You can't have that. No. You didn't ask me for that. You came in here trying to get my stuff. Sorry. Okay. The codified ones simply represent those whose meaning and purpose is clearly understood. There is many more to discover, comprehend, and codify. Every astromancer dreams of naming a new constellation and adding them to the great catalog. Using the constellations the easy way, an astromancer can draw the design on an implement or artifact, arrange things or people to recreate the design below, such as standing your rituals in the shape of the fountain or the chain, or simply invoke them during a ritual to shine favorably or unfavorably upon the outcome of a specified target. By naming propitious stars to someone, you could bless or curse them. As above, so below. Astromancers firmly believe that echoing the structure of the constellations strongly influences the environment. It is not common to find a Ursian spires encampments laid out in the form of a net, or astromancers' chambers arranged specifically to evoke a particular constellation. Does this not sound like the pyramids that all line up with Orion's belt? Who is the three sisters? Who is the three mothers? Tulpas. Okay. The constellations are not sentient or sapient in any meaningful way. That's not even true, but they are symbols of potentiality, emblems of cosmic forces ill understood by the Empire's magicians. But sometimes, during a ritual, a combination of existence of the constellation coupled with the efforts of a magician will cause the manifestation of a tulpa. Now listen, okay. These are thought forms, concepts, and ideas given form by magical will and motive power of the constellation. Let me read those two sentences again. Sometimes during a ritual, a combination of the existence of the constellation coupled with the efforts of the magician will cause the manifestation of a tulpa. These are thought forms, concepts, and ideas given form by magical will and the motive power of the constellation. Tulpas are curious creatures, constructs of will and magic that make it easier to form a connection between the constellation and mortal magicians, just like the icons. The process by which a tulpa forms and manifests is structurally and magically very similar indeed to the process by which a national egregore is formed. Some astromancers view them, oh my goodness, it will become an egregore unto you. Okay. Some astromancers view them perhaps as the understandable face of principles too vast and alien for our minds to clearly understand. As the Varushkin egregore sometimes represents a way for magicians to understand what it means to be Vakrushin, to interact with the soul of a nation in a meaningful way. So tulpas of the claw allow a magician to interact with the principle of conflict between living things. They are the bridges formed by magicians to connect them to these potent principles. Essentially, the magician gives the magic a physical form or a spiritual form that is easier for mortal minds to interact with. In a real sense, if the magician were not doing the ritual, the tulpa would not exist. It is like a combination of the cosmic principle and the ritual itself. This is why I say you have to actually take an action. All these people out here, I'm sorry, I just have to. All these people out here that think they're going to get reparations or anything else without taking an action is ridiculous. It says it right here. If you want to physically make something happen, you have to physically do the thing that's correlated with it. You can't go out and protest and think you're going to get reparations. That's not what that means. It means, hey, we've got a process here. Get your name copywritten. Go through our steps. This and this and this. We'll line you up to get. That's what it is. It's never ever was, oh, just sit back and your powers will just turn on. No. Our powers over here on this channel did not get turned on by us sitting back and studying some stuff. No, we got out in the field. We did experiments. We practiced. We tried. It wasn't random. They want you to always believe stuff is random. This is not happening by random accident. We did the work. We set the goal and we did the work. Okay. Through the principles of astromancy, the tulpa allows magicians to connect to the power of constellations. They are not entities in the way that eternals are entities. The Ursian, in particular, describe them as being more like cosmic Ushbati. I don't know what that means. Alright, while tulpas traditionally form their own bodies, astromancers who are deeply aligned with the constellation during a working, sometimes experience what they describe as brushing by or alignment with a tulpa. The ritualist mind brushes the consciousness of the tulpa during a ritual, and the ritualist finds them behaving in a way which personifies or exemplifies the principle of the constellation. The ritualist does not lose control or consciousness. They remain in control of their own actions, but all factors have to do with the constellation are amplified. Stars and virtues. Unlike the runes, there's no direct correlation between the constellations and the virtues of the way. A sect, especially a Urzian sect, may adopt one or more constellations that are relevant in their approach to the way. A vigilant priest whose calling to secretly watch for corruption within the empire might embroider garments with a spider, while an individual working to confront the external enemies of the empire employ the claw or the drowned man. Okay, I'm not going to read all of those. But these are the constellations. These are the common magic that goes along with it. I'm just not going to get into all of this right here. I just want you guys to understand. And I will, share this so you guys can look through it. It may be some useful information here. This is why we don't want to throw away the baby with the bathwater. I'm for sure going to go through here and line this stuff up with the tarot because I know it does. Just based on what I've seen. I just want people to understand. You was not crazy when you said, I don't know these people doing this magic against me. You don't. You got these people out here who believe that they're participating in something that's not real. And this is like a year-round thing. Like 4 times a year they get together. They have smaller events. I looked at some of the websites for the stuff. They have smaller events, small little groups. They go together. And you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of like the British version of Burning Man. Especially when they have the setup time that they go, they have the time that they shut down, and it's all based in fantasy, just like Burning Man. It's all based in this fantasy of a green land. This is based in a fantasy of, year 385, 386. What is that? Like you're gonna go back to year 385 and redo it. So I don't exactly know how this ties into how they've been doing this magic to us. I just know that it's a clear. This was public. Who knows what these people do behind closed doors? If they got this much information, like, I didn't even go through all of this stuff on this website yet. That's why I'm like, we can't throw the baby away with the bathwater. We got to figure out what's going on here. They got a lot of information on here. The clothing, he got an astrolabe in his hand. Like, we got to really, figure out what this is. Like empire. Okay. See, this is a wiki. You'll be able to find everything you need to know about Empire, the award-winning live role-playing game from this company, which began in Easter 2013. We often upload new content to the site, so if you're returning, then check the updates, blah, blah, blah. So they have nations, they have a world, they have an empire, your conduct, rules, and the game. I mean, this is like, let's just look at the game. All right, this is a character, let's see. It's a sandbox game in the sense that you will be entering a completely open world that you are free to explore and influence. There's no grand narrative being created by us. Rather, the Empire campaign consists of the stories that emerge from interactions of the player characters who collectively run the Empire. You are a part of the game with thousands of participants all playing together at the same time. You work with and often against other player characters to determine what happens next. In this sense, we strive to make the Empire like the real world. There's no predetermined outcome. Yeah, right. And you are free to make your own choices within the constraints of the setting. This means that it's really important to think about your character, their place in the setting, and what they aim to achieve. In many role-playing games, your character skills and abilities are crucial because they determine how you deal with the plot that is written for you. In Empire, your character's motivations and goals are crucial because they determine the story you create for yourself as you interact with others. Player versus player politics. As the heart of the game of politics, what? At its heart, Empire is a game of politics. Didn't I tell y'all the mother worked through politics? And I stood out on business on that one, and nobody agreed with me. I heard all kinds of explanations on why I was not correct. Okay. At its heart, Empire is a game of politics that is quite deliberately player versus player. This means that if you are going to be active in the politics of the Empire, then the protagonists that you encounter along the way will be other players. The game is deliberately designed to encourage many different forms of political rivalry, and the expectation is that you'll find yourself looking for allies to help you as you try to find ways to advance your agendas and defeat your rivals. Although the Empire has strong emphasis on PvP politics, the setting has been deliberately designed to discourage physical violence between characters. The setting is a very lawful one, with magistrates and militia who investigate any murder and try to execute those responsible. The aim is to make assassination the last act of desperation that is a result of a long simmering political rivalry, not the first choice in any conflict between the characters. Whew! That's a whole mouthful. The setting works hard to encourage and support a wide range of options for social interactions, offering many different ways in which you can harm your political rivals. For example, if they hold an imperial title, you might try to get the synod to revoke them or potentially excommunicate them. You could arrange to have a rival musician declared sorcerers by the imperial conclave. You might fabricate or expose a scandal to undermine a senator who is standing for re-election. Violence and murder are illegal in the Empire, but slander and blackmail are not. Listen, no, I'm not even going to say it. Then they have a player versus player monster battle. They have player versus player interactions. I'm not reading all of this. Look, they have like their seals and their stuff. Event focused, immersive, and aspirational. Look at these guys. Do these guys look like they know you? I mean, for real. Like, we have to be really serious here. Do these people look like they know you? Do these people look like they got you on their altar and they're deliberately doing this to you? No. Can this situation be easily controlled and manipulated? Absolutely. Especially if you're told this is fake magic. You immerse yourself into this and you find out you may never find out that it's not fake. And meanwhile, you're over here trying to figure out why this is happening, that's happening. That's why we got the protection first. I promise you, this is why. We got this protection before the solstice. So yeah, we got this protection before the solstice. So their whole thing where they normally just throw all this magic at us and all of this stuff, it didn't work because we're protected. We are covered. So that energy's got to go somewhere. And it's going to go back to whoever is pulling the puppet strings on these people, getting them to do all this stuff, whoever's the bad actors that, knows that it's real magic and is not telling the people the truth, they're going to have to answer for that. And, the people, if they're good people, let them have their fun and play. I don't care about that. What I want to make sure of is if we are protected, their magic that they're doing can be used against us. But if you don't know that there's a group of people out here in the UK running magic against you 24, every single solstice, every single equinox, forever since 2013, that's when they announced it. Who knows what they were doing before then? We don't know. They probably needed more bodies because we were becoming more powerful. So, I don't know. And this is not to accuse anyone in this organization that they're doing something illegal or immoral or anything else. That's not the point. The point is, if there's a group out here like this that's doing this, then there's got to be private groups out here doing this type of stuff. And this is what it's modeled after. Not saying that these specific individuals are doing anything wrong, illegal, or immoral. I'm not saying that. I don't know. I'm just saying if this exists on the internet, then it's got to be something that's going on. And if you're going to organize something in a way that you could get what you want out of something, you would have to have a way to tell people, where to get your ideas from. And this is just probably one of the tools that they use. So that's not to say anything about anybody. I don't want to get into that because I don't think necessary. I just want y'all to understand that's what a tulpa is. That's the most important thing to take from this video. What a tulpa is. A tulpa is a creation from your energy into a physical thing, your connection with the astrology into a physical being, a literal physical being that takes on the characteristics of the astrology. So imagine if you don't know your own astrology. Oh, sorry. If you don't know your own astrology, you're just a walking invitation for these tulpas to jump on you, jump in you, jump around you, and you have no control. You just totally lost it. So I just wanted to point this out. Like I said, I will leave the link in the description. You can take a look over here and see what is going on. Like I said, I do believe this is kind of like the Burning Man of the UK. Like, that's how they use it. I mean, I know there's other things, but this one had such specific information on what I was researching that there's no way that's brought to our attention for no reason. So, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, unlike, unsubscribe, don't share. I would like to try to grow my channel. So if you have people who might be interested in this content, please share. Sharing is caring. And, but if not, it's okay too. I'll take prayers. So shalom everyone, and we'll see you in the next video.